It's funny how when you're first sort of at art school and at uni trying to figure out what to paint, you want your work to be important and you want it to say something, but you don't know how to kind of connect that, and you don't know how to make that happen. And I think as you just slowly just do it for years and years, so I've been doing it for about 20 years now, you find your voice and you figure out what you want to make. I love collections of things and I love multiples of things. It just started out as looking around and painting objects that I love. I always wanted to keep it very much about sort of the objects and the ideas surrounding that. The kind of painting that I make could be seen to be quite an old school way of working in these days, you know, with digital things and social media, and everything's quick and sort of high impact, and it's quite a contradiction to spend weeks and months working on one thing. There is something very calming about the process that feels substantial. So my interest in painting realistically and realism and all the kind of density and detail that involved, and my interest in minimalism, where everything's pared back and it's just about colour and it's about repetition. The two things kind of came together in that image. That's what that painting colour field is. I think as my life has changed, the way that I use colour and the things that I am attracted to paint have also changed. When I started out making works, they were very monochromatic. If you laid out all the works, you could see the slow creep in of colour. As I've had kids and I'm kind of surrounded by more colour and life, the works themselves have taken on that colour. When I first had kids and I wanted to keep painting, I knew I wanted to keep painting, and so we got a garage and I divided it down the centre, and I have one side which is a studio where I paint, and then the other side is just full of colour and life, and it's where the kids play while I'm painting. You get little intrusions over the fence sometimes. The last couple of series of works really look at the environmental impacts of plastics and things like that. Even the painting that I've done of my children in their play space, they have their heads turned away from the painter and they're just surrounded by sort of plastic and things and toys, and that's not something we sort of envisaged when we had kids, but you just end up with all this stuff. And I think everyone should probably be a bit more aware of all the stuff in their life, and do you need it? In the more recent work, I am looking more at the wastefulness of how we live with these objects. But even with these environmental works, they also repel you in a certain sense. So they draw you in with the flashy colours and the beautiful objects, but then they repel you when you realise, oh, that's just a painting of a giant pile of plastic. So it's that push-pull and the kind of dichotomy with that. I see this project that I've been doing for sort of 20 years as a kind of documenting process and an archival process, and capturing these moments and these things that might not be around. A lot of the work is done in the act of painting. It's this kind of heartfelt idea that you're spending all this time with all these tiny brush strokes, creating this sort of tribute to motherhood and to parenting and to this whole process that's so full of love but is so time consuming. And I think all those ideas are wrapped up in that work. So my work in general, it's like hanging on by my fingernails to these things that I love, but not just documenting them, but sort of it's a way of keeping them and keeping them safe.